So you want to be a freelance creator in 2024? Let me tell you about my experience. I have lots of time, freedom, work-life balance from not being in a 9-to-5 job. I can wake up when I want, I can go to bed when I want, I can work when I want, I can go out when I want, for the most part. I can kind of set my own schedule, do my work when I need to do it, and I don't have this set 9-to-5 office job that I have to be at every day, and then I'm expected to be in a certain place for a certain amount of hours. And this makes a lot of things easier for me. I, for one, just like the freedom, like to be able to work when I want and when I need to. If I have life stuff going on, I mean, right now I'm in a season of life. I kind of hate that. I'm in a time in my life where I just got engaged, so I had to take time away from like working to plan out that engagement process because I wanted it to be special. I had to take a day off to like do that, to go hiking with my now fiance and propose to her. That was on a Monday. A lot of people couldn't do that. We often have to like look at venues now, or like maybe are looking at a house that we might want to rent. And I have the time and the freedom to do that because I can basically work when I need to and when I want to. So if I need to go look at a house at like 2 on a Wednesday, I can do that. If I want to go play disc golf at 3 on Thursday, I can do that. That's great. I love that. It also gives me time to pursue other things like YouTube and other things. Like I like to play disc golf a lot or play basketball. It gives me like a chance to do that. It gives me like a chance to pursue other things. You know, if you have a sport that you're like, oh, maybe I could be pretty good at this and I want to like play this a lot more, get good at it. You have the chance to do that as a freelance creative. I can spend more time with my fiance and I can like do certain things, like go out on dates at certain places, certain times of days. We can go look at like venues and whatever because we have that time freedom. But even though I have more freedom, I have more to do. I have to dedicate more time to not only work, but business related things. And let me tell you what I mean by that. So from the work aspect of it, you may disagree with me here. That's okay. You may not like this opinion, but just bear with me. I've talked to a good amount of people in both the 9-to-5 positions and the freelance positions, I feel like. And it seems like we've agreed that when you have a 9-to-5 job, you are expected to be at this 9-to-5 job and you work from 9 to 5. Or, you know, whatever your hours are, you're expected to be there. You work from 9 to 5. A lot of people, I think, and not every job is like this, but a lot of people, I think, have like these jobs where you're expected to be there. And basically, if you're in the building, you have worked like that day. You've got your paycheck for those amount of hours. I think a lot of people would agree that you don't do the same amount of work every day. And some days, you know, maybe you're not feeling too great, or some days you're like distracted by something. Some days you have like a bunch of like meetings, random phone calls, whatever, that aren't necessarily like the work that you have to get done. So, or you might spend extra time in the bathroom. You're trying to get away from the desk. You might take more time on lunch, whatever it may be. For a freelance creative, in my experience, again, not everyone might be like this, but if I'm getting paid to do something, I'm getting paid for the work that I'm doing. I'm not getting paid for any hours that I'm not working. If I do work for these amount of hours, I charge for that amount of hours. I don't charge for extra hours that like I sat around or whatever. If it's a project, yes, it's like you get paid per project. So that's a little bit different, but still it's like you get paid for whatever you produce. If you do not produce that project, you don't get paid for it. You really are only getting paid for the work you're doing. So it's, to me, a little bit of a disadvantage because say me and a 9-to-5er were both getting paid like minimum wage, whatever it is, $15 an hour. If they go to their job and they are there from 9 to 5, they could get half as much work done as me, get paid for that 9 to 5 rate. I could get more done in a couple hours, but I only get paid for those hours. So, you know, if say I worked every hour and I produce way more than them because like they don't have an incentive to like work really hard, whereas I'm only getting paid for the hours that I'm actually working, then I'm probably going to be producing a lot more work than they are, or I'm going to be producing the same amount and my hours are going to be less. So that's one disadvantage. And I know that's kind of dependent on like how you're getting paid. A lot of freelancers say do it by project. It just doesn't always work out that way. I think some clients don't want to do that. The other thing is I not only do the work for my boss, which is me, but he has to do the books work, the taxes work, the company side of things, like getting new clients, like I said, doing like the tax side of things, keeping the books, making sure we have work, making sure like I'm not wasting any time. So like if I don't have actual work to do, I'm like posting on social media to try and get more work and that sort of thing. So there are a lot of extra things that you have to do that you're not getting paid for, because that's just like the business side of things that doesn't bring in any money, but can eventually make you money. So not all of this is like something that a creative enjoys. If you're like a designer or videographer or whatever, and you're working your 9 to 5 or you're working your job and you don't like doing all that stuff, then maybe that's something to consider. If you don't want to do that like money upkeep, making sure you have clients, all that sort of thing, and like the business side of things, then maybe freelancing is not for you. So on the bright side, since I find my work, I pick what and who I want to pursue to some extent. I get to kind of choose my client and choose my path to a certain extent. For example, I have been offered pretty big time jobs from college athletics, creative teams. And these were a few years back when I was like more in that realm. And when I decided to go freelance, I had like a couple different job offers, different job opportunities, but those would have taken me across the country in different places. You know, there were some closer, some further away, and they offered a lot more money than the job that I had at the time. But I wanted to pursue that time freedom, that work-life balance, and then I also didn't want to move far away. I kind of wanted to stay in this area. That was the thing that freelancing gave me the ability to do, was to stay here, keep working on the things that I want to work on, and not be expected to be like in an office for like 60 to 80 hours a week, like a lot of these big time creatives are at certain college athletics places. Instead, I think I've been like leaning towards clients who are maybe a little more open-handed with projects, have a little more creative freedom. I'll just give you like a pretty good example of what I'm talking about. So I recently had applied for a job with the Panthers. It was gonna be full-time and in-house, and things were going pretty well with that. They got kind of like stopped due to some stuff within the organization, but I was told to continue to pursue that once that stuff got figured out. But I kind of just made a decision to go a different route because it seemed a little bit too like corporate. It kind of seemed like I wasn't going to have that creative freedom as much as I would like. It would have been what I think would be 9 to 5 in the office. As much as I like love the Panthers, that's like a dream job, or it would have been a few years back. I think for me now, I value whenever I'm looking for a job, I look, you know, like a couple months into the future at that job, see myself in that position. You know, am I sitting at a desk? Am I enjoying what I'm doing day to day? Like, yes, working with this team might be cool, but is that day-to-day work worth it? Is that day-to-day work gonna be fun and exciting and really like get my creativity going and be fun for me, versus turning into something that I'm kind of dreading every day, or like just feels monotonous, I guess, if that's the right word. I'm not sure. So that is like a cool thing that I got to do. On the other hand, I just took a part-time freelance position editing for the Tour Life podcast, which is a disc golf podcast. And like I was saying, I love disc golf. So I do stuff for Brody Smith. There's a little more like creative freedom. I can have fun with it. I edit like videos and can like, you know, make them funny. He doesn't have a lot of creative input. Like there are some things that like we do the same way every time, and like some ways that like he likes things to be done, but it's such a small kind of like startup feel that it's just more freeing to work in, if that makes sense. You also just kind of feel like you're less of like a cog in like this big machine, and you feel more like you're like a piece of what makes this thing run. Like you're like really helping this like organization or company hit goals and like make moves. Like you can see the progress of the company that you're kind of helping generate. So like I said, yeah, the clients, I can kind of like sometimes pick and choose who I'm going to say yes and no to, and who I'm going to pursue and like not pursue, as well as just the type of work. A lot of times there are people that like want a logo from me, which I'm like not great at doing, and I just don't love like working in like the vector stuff. I might branch out into that at some point, versus like a motion graphic or a video or like a Photoshop graphic for social media or something like that. That's what I gravitate towards. So I can kind of like pick and choose like what I'm going to do in that, versus if you were in a 9 to 5, you might like just have to do a certain type of work, and you might have just a certain project thrown on you that's just what you have to do that day. That's an assignment for you. Then you're expected to get that done because you are in this position. But even though I can be sort of picky with the clients that I work with, beggars can't be choosers. I do have to find my own work and deal with clients. I see a lot of people on social media say things like, my $50 client is needy and like has all these like stipulations on like what needs to be in the project and wants like edits and redos and wants like more for less, while my $5,000 client says, here's the money, this is what I need, send it to me when you're done, thanks. I have yet to find those clients, so if they're out there, let me know. Kind of makes sense, I guess, that like the lower budget clients are going to be a little bit more nitpicky about some things. They like maybe have less money to deal with, so they're really trying to make sure like a good job gets done or whatever. But at the same time, like these big clients are reaching out to someone who they think is really good at what they do, and they're trusting that person to do what's asked of them, and they're paying them what they're worth and what they're asking. In my experience as a freelance creative, a lot of people try to undervalue what you do. They want to pay you as cheaply as possible for as much work and as good of a job as they can get out of you. It might be different from person to person, and I've only been doing this for a year, but that is my experience with a lot of clients. Not every client, but a lot of clients. This is really draining. And I've had clients that like don't pay at all. Like if like, you know, again, this is my first year doing it. Maybe I like trusted too many people too many times, but I've definitely had people that like just didn't pay me at all after I sent stuff. I've had situations where people just like take a long time to pay. Even if I have like a good relationship with them and they seem like good people, the process of payment is just like not easy, and it like sometimes takes way too long, or like there's a misunderstanding, and it kind of just gets draining after a while. You just feel like, okay, I'm doing this work, just pay me like what I'm worth to do this work. Like people just make it so difficult sometimes, and as a freelance creative, you really see that. You really just see how draining it can be in that financial area. For me, there's a part of me that's like kind of constantly worried about like, do they think I'm doing a good job? Like a lot of times I think I'm doing a good job, and then like maybe even not getting paid as well. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna bite the bullet here. I'm gonna do a really good job, and like, you know, not charge as much, and like do them a favor. And then like in that process start to wonder like, do they think that I'm not doing a good job? Like, are they going to like try and find someone else to do this because they still like wish they were paying less for this? And it kind of just gets like draining. No one wants to just like pay you for like the work that they know you can do. Like when people reach out to me, which a lot of times happens, like they see my portfolio, they see what I do, and they see that it's good, and that's why they're reaching out. But then like they just start to get stingy. I feel like, I don't know, not every client's the same. People can just be difficult. Finding your own clients can be hard too. When I started freelancing a while back, I told my fiance, which was then my girlfriend, like I have these two big clients, and I had a couple other clients maybe at the time, but I was like, these two big ones are like the backbone of what I'm doing. So like I feel pretty comfortable as a freelancer. And I was like, but they could drop out at any moment, because that's just like the freelance world. And like a month or two later, they both did. That's just like the nature of the beast. Like you always have to be working to find new clients. You have to be looking to find new clients. You have to be posting your work, trying to get eyes on your work, trying to like let people know you're available. I'm constantly like applying for like a position here and there that's like either freelance or part-time, to like make sure that I have that like backbone client, or like make sure that I'm like have at least like some sort of a safety net, and I'm not just like scraping together all these like one-off clients to like stay afloat, which sometimes that's what it comes to. And it's also like posting content to get clients that way, which that doesn't always work, but it can be like taxing when you're trying to like work on a video to get eyes on your stuff, or work on an application and you're not getting paid for that time, but that's just time like invested in the business to like get paid in the future or get a job in the future. It's just hard when you're doing that and that's not bringing any income at the moment, but it's just a thing you have to do. I realized pretty quickly that I had to sort of branch out from like the very specific like niche of work that I wanted to do, branch out a little bit in a couple different directions to bring in enough income when like the clients in this specific area just weren't there at that time. So for me, this is actually kind of a good thing because I like variety. I get to work in like graphics, like sports graphics, and get to do like some other graphics every once in a while, and work on like video editing, which I love video and I love graphics. They're both nice to kind of like split things up and not have to do just like one thing all the time. So I enjoy that. I enjoy both the video work and the graphics work. And I've also done like some photography, and that kind of like blends in with more of my personal life, because I have like some people that I know personally that reach out to me for like wedding photos or videos, or like a family photo shoot or that sort of thing, or like a local school, you know, sporting event, whatever it may be. I get to like do photos and videos for like that sort of thing, and that's like fun because you're getting paid and like it's a new thing and it's not like the same old all the time. And like a lot of times I'm working with people that I know pretty well, so that's fun. I also get to work on like passion projects just because I have the time, and they are sort of like advertisements for what I can do. Like I can post those passion projects, people see that and they're like, this person's good at designing, or this person like is good at making a short film, or this person is good at making a hype video, or whatever it may be. So I've done a lot of that. Like I shot my sister's wedding video. I actually made like a workout video for her one time just off the cuff. I made like a fishing video for our family. I've done some like volunteer stuff for the church that I go to, Mercy Church. So all those can be fun things. Sometimes you get paid for them, sometimes you don't. It can be rewarding to like help out friends and family with that sort of thing, and like, you know, surprise them with like a really cool video or a really cool graphic, or like something they're not expecting. They just don't like get that. Maybe they don't have the money for it, or whatever it may be. It can be rewarding to do that. The other side of that is I get asked to do stuff all the time. So if you know a creative, you know, a photographer, videographer, graphic designer, whatever it may be, anyone that even has any sort of job that you might need their help with something, listen closely to what I'm about to say. Stop. No, but okay, this is like the life of a creative. I have friends and family and people that like I know on social media. Like sometimes I don't even know them that well. I just constantly have people that are like reaching out to me and asking me to do things for them, to make things for them, to like shoot something for them, to make a logo or a design for them. Whatever it may be, I just don't always have the time to do that. And it's really hard when like you're already a lot of times like scraping together clients, and you already have like clients who are like nitpicking everything and like barely want to pay you anything in the first place. And then you have friends and family who are coming to you and asking for stuff like for free or for a discount, just adding on top of that. I'm like, bro, like I already have people that are undervaluing my work. I don't need more people that I know that are like in that same boat. And the other thing is like, a lot of times you probably think it's like, oh, it's just me that's like asking them to do this. Or you don't even think about that. You're just like, oh, I'll just ask them. It's like this one thing. Well, they probably have like a bunch of other people asking for a bunch of other stuff all the time as well. And if they do it for you, then they got to do it for everybody else. They also have like other things to be doing. This stuff takes time and effort. And if they want to do a good job for you, then it takes more time and more effort. It's not like, you know, if you ask them to do something, they're just going to like throw it together for the most part. Like they want to do a good job, but we just don't always have the time to do that. Like I was saying earlier, for a freelance creative, like time is money. So the time that I'm working for free for this thing for you, I can't be working for a client, or I can't be like trying to get more clients that are actually going to pay me for what I'm doing. So even though I've done a ton of stuff, and I like doing stuff for people, a lot of us creatives do that. A lot of us creatives help people out all the time, like doing stuff for free or for cheap. It's not like a never thing, but it's just frustrating when like you're already having people undervalue what you're doing, and then you have like friends and family like also asking for work that's going to take your time, and then you're not going to get like paid, or not going to get paid well for it. So you're kind of like breaking even or whatever it is. So there are a lot of frustrating things like that. That brings me to today's sponsor of this video, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I know I'm surprised as you are to have a sponsorship for this video, but luckily we were able to make a deal. And that deal was I would be born a sinner that lives a frustrating, sinful life, and Jesus will be born perfect and live a perfect life and die on the cross for my sins so that I may live eternally with him in heaven. This way, my hope can be in him and not in my career. And I will always be pursuing my career And those career struggles will always be a hard thing and a real thing that I have to deal with day in and day out. But I can find peace and trust in Jesus to provide for me what I need, whether that be work that day, whether that be money, whether that be food on the table, whether that be something for me and my family. I can go to him in prayer and lay it all out for him, lay it at his feet, and he is a good and faithful God, and I know he'll provide for me at the end of the day, no matter the outcome. After all, he told me not to worry about tomorrow because today brings enough troubles and tomorrow will have its own troubles. So thanks to him for being there for me and sponsoring this video. If you'd like to know more about that sponsorship, reach out to me in the comments or DM me. So here's to a new year of troubles and good times. I know a lot of this stuff sounds like really hard, but I also enjoy a lot of it. I've enjoyed being a freelance creative. I'm trusting in the Lord to provide for me in 2024. We're gonna keep on chugging. And if you want, I can update you on how that's going. If you made it this far in the video, comment down below and tell me your ups and downs of working your 9-to-5 or your freelance role, whatever it may be, whatever kind of work you do. Let me know how that's going for you, how it compares to my journey and the thoughts that I've shared today. Maybe you think I'm being dramatic, or maybe you think what I've said is really real. Let me know in the comments if you can relate to any of that. Please be nice about everything, whether it's to me or anyone else in the comments. Also, if you're looking for graphics or video help, if you're a good client, reach out. If you're not, find somebody else. Lastly, I know this is not a normal video for this page. I know there are a lot of sports design people here and maybe people looking for sports design work. So if you are looking for a graphic, a commitment graphic, announcement graphic, whatever it may be, and you have happened to make it to the end of this video, give me the code PEACEINJESUS or email it to me or whatever, and I'll make you a graphic at the super low rate of $50. That is not a lot just for this one video. I'm gonna cut you a deal. Cheers to 2024. Thanks for watching. Jesus loves you. Hello there. So you want to know what it's like being a freelance creator? Today we're going to be talking about how you smell like nachos and what that means for today's society. It can eventually make you money. My Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Okay.